I'm really high right now. So I think I'm gonna start just talking to the camera about things because I want to have it for later. I was thinking about how there's no advanced magic books, and it drives me crazy that there's no books of advanced magic or like advanced spells. At least not that I've seen. Maybe some black magic, but like not all the magic that I want to do is black magic, and I want it to be like super nice and advanced and have really intense spells that are cool. Nobody's got that. It's just normally combining a bunch of things in a bowl, and that's it. That really sucks. And it sucks for somebody who doesn't want to like have a bunch of herbs on hand. If you don't want like a ton of mason jars full of little herbs, then you're not like participating in spells, which is ludicrous. Even though almost every spellbook I've read is like, it's actually not about these, it's about the energy. And I'm like, yeah, I know it's about the energy. But they will all say that. But then if they don't create any just energy spells, they have to go along with something else. And I'm so frustrated by that. I keep looking up and I want to like share just energy spells, and I wish other people would like post that kind of stuff as a just energy, where are you moving your energy, you know, what are you visualizing, what are you feeling kind of spells. But we don't have that. And it's so annoying. I just realized I'm not talking to anybody. That was kind of weird. I have a really old neighbor. Maybe he's judgy. And what I was going to say, I'm just gonna keep going, who cares, was that I think I might want to have like I never really thought that I could write a creative like fiction storybook, because like being creative is very draining for me. I feel like that's not a sentence that's like, I don't know if that's relatable, if that's like a statement that a lot of people would agree to or not, but being creative is like super hard. And every time I'm like supposed to sit down and I'm like, why don't I draw, because that will be nice, that's a draining task. That's like a task that I have to do. That's not, oh my god, I look like Megamind. That's a draining task that I have to do. It's like a chore. That's not something that I would do just to have fun. And I never really thought of it like that, but it is. It's something that I like kind of make myself do. Because I'm like, you have to do that. Because, you know, you were good at art and you should be good at art. But anyway, I was thinking I could write a non-fiction book about maybe energy work, but like in a very specified sense, because I feel like when you hear that word, you think of a very large expanse of things, and I want it to be a very, you know, detailed, like a studied upon detailed process of what energy work means and what it means to do those things. Because I feel like nobody's expanded upon that. I want a detailed idea of what's going on. I guess. Because if magic works how people think it works, which I believe it does, obviously, it's an expanse of science. It's what science just barely doesn't reach, and then what becomes speculation. Or like theoretical physics, basically. That's the one, mostly things that we can't observe anymore. And what I believe, personally, is that the world is really made up of two things. Everything is made up of either these two things, or a combination of these two things. It's either matter or energy, and neither can be created or destroyed. They just are forever. And if they appear to be changing, they're really just changing forms but staying the same. There's still energy, there's still matter. You know? They're all the same matter. Like, when a leaf degrades or something, it becomes something different, but it's still just a leaf that's broken down more. You know. You know what I'm saying. I got a little too into it. Don't lick that. Do not lick that. Again, I said I am very high. I feel like I can be more myself when I'm very high, so maybe this is just what I'm like. But it's also very hard to like put this back on again. I feel like I'm so deep in a me that I've created for somebody else like years and years and years ago, like a persona that I put on, but like I don't really know what I'm like. And I feel like the only times I can feel what I'm like is when I'm calm, but I'm like almost never calm. So, but I'm calm right now, so I'm kind of confident, I guess. I also have like so many fears, and I feel like my anxiety takes over a lot of who I am as a person, you know? Like, if you're constantly just worried what other people are going to think of you and trying to be that person, or trying to, like, appease everyone, you completely lose sight of who you are. And then you're just an amalgamation of what other people have wanted you to be. Which is really hard to dismantle in the end. Which I guess I'm trying to do, you know? I think I really want to write a book. I could write a book. I could write a nonfiction book. I think about these things all the time, and I feel like nobody else is wanting that, or exploring it, or doing that, but I'm sure that other people are wanting something like this. But I feel like there's this idea, I don't know, it might be like the threefold law and all of that BS. Sorry to those who are Wiccan, but like the BS of, if that actually was true, like what I'm trying to learn is like the religion of truth, not like a spirituality or a feeling, or, well, a feeling, yeah, but like not like a Christian belief, not basing something off of faith, but trying to actually figure out what's going on. I feel like we've studied matter so much. Again, coming back to the world's made up of two things. I feel like we've studied matter to the limit. We understand everything about matter. We know so much science, down to atoms, like the very core things that make up matter, we know everything about it. But I feel like we know almost next to nothing about energy. Like, we know that we can feel things, and music makes us feel a certain way, and sometimes we can feel someone watching us, or feel a creepy feeling when we know something bad's gonna happen, or, you know, like you get a bad vibe from a guy, and you're like, I don't know how to explain that, but I know that that vibe was bad, and he was probably a creepy guy. Nobody thinks about that, and that we all understand that, and all usually experience that, having bad feelings about people, or, you know, all of that. We all accept that as true, but because we've all experienced it, but we never go any further than that. We're not like, hey, we are all like observing this thing, we're observing energy, and we're implementing that into our lives and accepting it as true. You know, what does that mean? What does that mean for science? What does that mean for any of this? That we are using this energy actively in our lives and accepting that as a truth. Accepting things as a truth is like, especially like species wide, is pretty darn impossible. I don't think, well, I mean, there might be some things, but like, I mean, not even like not murdering, that's accepted sometimes. But like, a lot of people could understand that exchange of energy and what that means, or what it feels like to like look at a rose or something, or what it feels like to, you know, do those things. Feelings are like a very, very big part of being a human. The energy of that is such a big part of being a human, but we didn't explore any of it. We didn't explore the energy and the feelings that exist in the world. And I think that's a big part of what magic, I mean, I feel like the word for that is, sounds silly to people, but like that's the best word I think that comes close to what I want to study, is that somebody needs to think about, how does feeling affect what's going on in our actual lives. Almost everybody will also tell you, if you feel better, you'll have like a better, like having a good attitude means everything, you know? Like having a good attitude about even bad things that happen make you have a better life. What does that have to do with anything? Like, why hasn't anybody dug deeper into the feelings of that and the energy of feeling? The feeling is how humans perceive almost everything. We perceive almost everything as a feeling. Us feeling like we're here, you know? I talk too fast. But if almost everything that we're doing is feeling, like feelings, feeling sad or feeling happy, feeling content, we can have a crazy range of emotions. Like, extraordinarily expansive. You know what it's like to feel like the blanket's too itchy and it's hard to go to sleep right now, and I didn't eat breakfast and I'm just very angry. Like, we all know what that feels like. That's a very specific energy that somebody honed in on that other people can relate to. And why does nobody find that as interesting as I find it? I find that incredibly interesting. That now we can picture that feeling of, God, I know I would feel so annoyed by that. Or I can now feel it. That's, and that we directed somebody towards that energy is also very interesting. And I think that's where magic comes in, is how does directing somebody towards that energy, or learning how to direct that energy, change the material and the matter around us, or at least the energy of the things around us, our attitude about stuff, basically. The things are not changing, but the attitude about them is changing. So that can create a whole different experience, even if the matter still stays the same. So I think that's why not only is energy work and learning about energy work extremely important, but I feel like it will be very life-changing for, or when we start studying that in science instead of just studying matter, we will probably hit another, I don't want to say industrial age, but that kind of, but with sources of energy and building things and energy. And energetically, what does that mean? And because now we really think in a state of matter and what is going to happen physically around us. I mean, we do have and that's probably why we're like the most advanced species, is because we have very complex emotions and we feel things very complexly. Like, it would be hard for a animal to even conceptualize what an atom is. But I feel like humans have that expansiveness of what we are able to feel and understand. But not even understand, just even conceptualizing. We have a very large field of that. I know I might be saying, like, kind of interesting things right now, but I also am high. So these are things that I normally think about, and I really do want to talk about, but I don't really have the confidence to talk about it normally. I only usually have the confidence when I'm high. So I am saying things that I feel very importantly about. That's not, see, but I'm also high. So, but I'm also going to say importantly. So you're getting a little bit of both. Like, I was just thinking about how that and all of that and energy work also pertains to how people are learning how expansive gender is, and how it really just depends on, we made these two archetypes of masculine and feminine, and those are both feelings, like a very specific energy of feminine or masculine. Those are both an energy. And so anybody can be placed anywhere around those in a very strange ways. Or like me, like barely even connected, wanting to very much stay out of even those two energies at all. And nobody even really, I mean, as people are thinking about that, there's people that are like, that's too expansive. We're expanding too much on gender. But I'm like, this is why this is an energy matter. when you feel things, when you feel like a woman, when you feel like a man, that can expand so much. Feelings can expand so much. They are so much further reaching than matter. Matter can only be so much. Feelings are like as infinite as our thoughts. Thoughts are very, very expansive. The imagination is amazing. And feelings are like that too. Like, if somebody said, what are like the limitations of imagination, you would be like, there are no limitations of imagination. And that's the same things with feelings. And that's why when people ask things like, oh, how many genders are there? I'm like, well, why does that really matter? But like, they ask it in a derogatory way. Like, because there's only supposed to be two. If you think there's more than two, that is stupid. And when you think about that and you're like, but why is expanding upon an energy that we've already been feeling, we've already been talking about, we already understand, expanding upon that socially and how each person relates to those archetypes is very, very interesting. There's so many, but I mean, there is a lot of overlap. There's a lot of men and women. There's a lot of people that just said, yeah, I fit over here, or yeah, I fit over there. Even trans men or women, There's probably more trans men or women. There's more binary people than there is non-binary people, probably. I think. I don't know. I don't know. I might have that opposite in the grand scheme of things. But I think a lot of people would either align with one of those energies and just say, yeah, I really fit into this energy. But I, feeling a gender, just want to be outside of those energies. And then there's another person on another scale that wants to be kind of a part of this and kind of a part of that, and they feel this way about that and feel a little bit like this about that, and that gender becomes very specified to that person about what their essence of masculinity and femininity are and what they feel like, what it makes them feel like to wear a dress. How does that feminine object that we've attributed this kind of energy to, what does that make you feel like in accordance to your gender? Like pronouns. Like, what kind of pronouns associate with your gender and how does that make you feel? Does it make you feel dysphoric? Does it make you feel like, yes, that is something that you can refer to me as? Does that sound right to you? Like, I feel like cis people don't even think about that. I mean, they might. But cis people still have to go through that. You would still, if you came up to a cis woman and called her a man, she would still feel upset about that and be like, that is not correct. That is not a correct association with the energies that I'm aligned to. Even if she wasn't angry, she still felt, no, that is not correct. Just that feeling is a very interesting and specific feeling. And that's a really interesting energy that we've put to that. And then I have a specific energy of what pronouns make me feel comfortable and uncomfortable. And now we've figured out that doesn't even have to include, like, non-binary people can all like different pronouns. Sometimes people can like all pronouns associated with them and say, yeah, that is all correct. Or with me, I'm like, this set is the only correct ones. I feel like you're doing something incorrect. That is not the energy that I'm putting out when you label me with those two energies. That's like not my energy at all. That is incorrect. And like, even if we don't want to put that at the top and say, why are we even thinking about these things? Well, it's because these things have been a huge part of our society as humans. As humans, that's been a very big thing. Trans people have always existed, cis people have always existed, that's always been a thing, but this two archetypes of energy have been a big part of, you know, our existence. Even though the things that come from that, like associating blue with boys and pink with girls, even though that stuff kind of changes sometimes, because that used to be flip-flopped. But like those things that we associate with those two major energies can change, but those energies existing and being a big part of our society has always been a thing. It's pretty much always been a thing. Correct me if I'm wrong, though. That might not be true. But I feel like as non-binary people are starting to come out, we're expanding upon that energy and getting very specific with how we feel about the aspects of gender. And what does gender even mean? And being really, really focused on that energy. And I feel like everybody has been really focused on that energy, whether you care about trans people or not. Everybody is. But trans people still exist, and yeah. And I feel like was basically my whole life, is I had that energy, that feeling. I had that really strong energy of when somebody called me a woman, like everything in my body went, no, that is incorrect. No, that doesn't feel right. And when somebody would call me a man, I felt the same thing. I'm like, no, that is absolutely incorrect. I know with everything in my body that that is not correct. But I felt that way with both of the binary genders, and I didn't understand. Nobody ever gave me the tools to know that there were non-binary genders, and so I kept trying to mash myself into both of those binary genders in different ways, and it just didn't work, and it made me feel even worse because it just flipped from one no to the other. I would dress really feminine and be like, maybe I'm just cis, and it would make me feel like, no, I know this is not right. This is not, it feels like being misgendered, like, for cis people. I'm trying to also say things that maybe somebody who is cis would understand better. I feel like, or like somebody who has never dealt with a trans person, who's never been around a trans person, like, how would they, because I live in a small town, so I guess I'm trying to explain it in that way, but yeah, but does it make you dysphoric? Like, those things made me so dysphoric, but it was two of the binary things. I didn't understand that there was anything beyond that. And I feel like every child should at least know of that existence, because I can't imagine how horrible I would have felt if I kept trying to mash myself into both of those genders and feeling so awful, like I was a heart-shaped peg, and it was like, do you want to go in the square or the circle? And I was like, I can't mash myself into either of those. Those are both wrong. I don't know, where is the heart circle? The heart cutout. And I found the heart cutout, and I was like, bingo. See, I'm laying down a very specific energy that you understand. But then you gotta think about how many shapes there are, and there is that many holes for that many shapes. And people, maybe a lot of people are a square or a circle, but a lot of people are gonna be a star, or, you know, a rhombus, or a trapezoid. I would probably be a trapezoid, not gonna lie. Yeah, I think a trapezoid. Doesn't trapezoid, like, refer to a lot of different shapes, though? Or is that rhombus? I'd probably be a trapezoid, because I'm kind of associated with a square. But, like, in a very not square kind of way. Maybe people who are discovering their genders can refer to them in these two ways. Are you a circle or are you a square? Because I feel like that also, square has feminine energy and square has masculine energy. And like, that's all that this is about anyway. It's just those two energies. And what's going on? What's going on with that? That's it. Oh yeah, I was talking about magic, and then I just totally went on a tangent there. I'm gonna put on some music. Maybe I'm just recording myself so I can feel good about like talking to myself without feeling like it's socially unacceptable to talk to myself. I guess if that's what doesn't, you know. Doesn't really matter how you get there as long as you get there. I think I'm just gonna meditate now. But I want you to sit with that information. Also, I hope that I watch this later and write a nonfiction book. You didn't think about that, did you? About nonfiction. You did. I'm actually looking at myself now. I hope future me has like so many more piercings than past me. I feel like I only dislike this side of my face. No, this side. Mirror didn't make sense. Like this side of my jaw, like I'm pretty okay with. She's a tiny menace. But this is like, it all drags to this side, and it feels like it's going sloping down, and I feel like other people wouldn't understand that at all because they don't look at my face as often as I do. But I feel like that would be super gender affirming for me, to just have my sides of my jaw be equal. Because I feel like from here up, it's like, but from here down, I'm like, I don't like that. I don't know what's going on, but I don't like it. I don't know if I was supposed to. Oh, I thought that was a bug. It was not a bug. It was my AC unit. Oh yeah. So, I hope you find this and you make a nonfiction book. And maybe get jaw surgery. Because I really want jaw surgery.